Hello everyone, today I am going to discuss the question 13 of my web development practical video series. Let's go to our question list. Okay, here you can see under day 2 there's the question 3. If you watch my previous videos, you know we completed all the way down to the question 2 of day 2, and I'm going to discuss the question 3. Okay, this is the question 3. Now I'm going to read it first and let's review my answer. Okay, as a full stack web developer, you have to develop a login page for a website. It should be validated and responsive for small, medium and large devices. Okay, must use the email address as the username. Password length should be contain more than 8 characters. Okay, that's right, and let's read the other parts. There are 3 user types that log into this website: admin, employee and client. Okay, there are 3 different home pages in this website. Okay, you can see this we have to create a dynamic web page for separate kind of users. Okay, there are 3 variants: admin, employee and client. And if an admin log into this site, he could be he can view only the admin page will be shown to that admin, and when an employee enter his credentials and log into the site, the employee home page will be shown to that employee. Like that, the client can be watch his home page. Okay, here you can see admin. Here are 3 home pages: admin home page, employee home page and client home page. You can see they give us 3 file names: admin home.php, emp home.php and index.php. Okay, use following details to check the functionality of this login page. Okay, now we have to embed these details into our website. Now we can use these details. Like, first one is here's the admin credentials, admin@gmail.com, and password is admin123. If someone entered these details, he should be he could be access the admin home page. Okay, like that, there are 3 credentials. You can see the employee username emp@gmail.com and password emp123, and here's the client credentials, client@gmail.com and client123. These are testing Gmails and passwords. Now you can see here's a diagram that's showing the functionality of this web page, and here's another diagram, example image to we can use to we can refer this when we are creating the design. Okay, now I'm going to show you my design, and after that let's check the functionality of this web page. First we can check the functionality, and after let's review our code. Okay, here I'm logging as an admin, so I'm giving it admin@gmail.com, and here's the password admin123. You can see here's the password admin123. But before that, let's change this one. Let's press the login button without any data. You can see enter email. I validated these 2 input fields, so if you want to log into this website, you have to enter the details first. So admin@gmail.com and admin123. Okay, here's the password again, but before that, let's just enter the email and press the login button. You can see enter password. This should be changed to enter password. Sorry about the text. So we have to enter the password. The site is not going to enter us or allow us to access other pages without giving the credentials. Okay, let's log into the admin page. Now you can see these are the two credentials. Now you can see here is the admin home page. Don't mind the design of this home page. I only name the page because we just need to show or indicate that we are in the admin page. So let's go back and let's change this one to EMP. EMP means the employee, and here's the other password, EMP123. Let me show the password. Okay, now let's press the login button again. You can see we are in the employee home page. Let's do that to the client part 2, client and client 123. Okay, you can see the password and let's log in. Sorry, there's an error. Okay, let's log in. Here you can see client home page. Now you can see we can log into different home pages according to the credentials we are entering to this site. Now I'm going to show you my code, but before that let me show you the database I created for this website. I'm going to open the Heidi SQL browser. Here you can see we are in Heidi SQL browser. Now this is the database I created for this purpose, and there are two tables here. First one, account type. ACC type means account type, and user. Here are the two tables, and here are the attributes inside that table. Let me show you the table. Here you can see I entered the credentials, this testing credentials to this one. You can see in the name field, don't mind the name field, I just enter a name, so we can use that one in the web page. And after that you can see the email here, admin@gmail.com, emp@gmail.com, like that, and the password admin123, emp123, like that. And you can see there's another attribute called account type ID, and here there's a green color key mark. That means this is a foreign key. This attribute is foreign from another table. Actually that's the account that foreign from the account type table. You can see in the account type table these are the account types: admin account, employee account, and client account. These are the IDs, and I assigned those ID as a foreign key to these records. You can see first one is the admin account and second one is the employee account, like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. Let's change the password of this admin account. Okay, here are the new credentials. Admin should be entered only admin@gmail.com and password as admin. Let's go to our site. Sorry, this one here. In our site, let me change this one. I'm changing the client to admin. Now I'm giving the old password I give to this site. Okay, here admin123. Now I'm going to log into this site. I'm going to press the button. Here you can see there's an error. Check your email and password. There's an error because we changed our database. Now the new credentials should be admin@gmail.com and admin as the password. Now let's click on the login button. You can see we can log into our admin page. Now it's clear that I connect this database to my website. Now let's review our code. Okay, here's the code. We are in the index.php file, and in this index file here's the login form. Here's the title, login, and here are the email input field and the password input field, and this is the login button. This is a usual HTML code, but let me highlight this one. I assigned IDs, two different IDs to these input fields, and I use that ID to extract the details inside these two input fields. And you can see in the login button there's an there's a function called get details. Let's go to our JavaScript file, but before that I like to highlight this one too. You can see I connected the Bootstrap framework to my project, and here you can see I assign Bootstrap classes to this HTML tags. Let's go to our site. You can see in the question they specifically told us to create the or make the website responsive for small, medium and large devices. Okay, now I'm going to show you the answer again, and let's change the screen size of this web page. Okay, here I'm changing the width of this web page. After that, you can see when I'm changing the web page, the login form, this is the mobile view, and here's the tablet view or medium screen size, and here's the large screen size or desktop screen size. You can see the design didn't change its form, and it's readable to a user who use a small device or a medium one or a big screen. That means we created this website responsive. None of these details are not none of these details didn't became unreadable. So you can see I create this web page responsive for all three screens. And let's go to our code again, and I told you I used IDs to extract the details out from these input fields. And after that, let's go to our JavaScript file. You can see there's a function called get details. That's the function which will execute it when someone press on this login button. Let's go to the JavaScript file again, and after that you can see here I created two new JavaScript variables called email and password, and I assign the values. Here you can see get element by ID means I am grabbing or getting this element, the HTML element, which is the input field, which have the ID equal to E and ID equal to P. So you can see I grab the input element of the email field and the password field, and I assign the that elements to this new variable. Button, you can see there's another part, dot value. Dot value means it's not going to assign the whole element to that variable. It's going to extract the values inside that input field and input or assign those values into that variable. So that means if someone types something here and here, those values will be stored separately in email variable and password variable. And after that you can see there's another variable called form, and I assigned a form object to this variable. We use form objects when there are many data or many details we have to store. We can store those separate details into a single form object, and we can call that form object, so we can hold the set of details using that form. Okay, that's what I did here. And after that you can see there's a ajax object. This is an ajax object. You can see XML HTTP request. This part I use for this website. I use Ajax technology to send this data to the server side without reloading the user's display or user's login page. It will extract the details user added to this login form and then send to the server side. And after the server side process those two credentials, so email and passwords the user enter, the result will be sent back to our client's computer. Okay, that's the simple function of this AJAX object. And after that, let me skip these these set of code lines. Now I'm going to explain this part. I will explain the above code line starting from code 12 to code 20 after I explain the process.php file. Okay, now let's go to this one. Here you can see I assigned a open function, open method to the object. Here you can see I assigned the object to a new variable called R, and I call that AJAX object using the variable name, and I assigned open method to that variable, actually the AJAX object. And here I define how I want to transfer this data to the server side. I use the post method. There are two methods called get and post. I use post method because it's a more secure method than the get method, because if you use the get method, it will send the data combined to the URL, so that URL will be visible to anyone in the network. Okay, that's why I use post method, because I am using password and emails, and those are credentials. And here's the destination page. I want to send these details. This is the process.php file. And after that, you can see there's another part. I define the keyword true because we are using the AJAX method. If you use the keyword true, that means we are using the AJAX method. If you use the keyword false, that means we are using the SAJAX method. I'm not going to discuss what are the difference between AJAX and SAJAX technologies, but in this case we are using the keyword true because we are sending the data using the AJAX method. And after that, you can see I again assign another method, send. That means I command the AJAX object to send a request, and in that method you can see I send the form, the whole form which contains the email and the password. You can see we append the details into this form. Now I send the whole form into the server side. Okay, let's go to the server side file. Actually, server side means in this process we are in the process.php file, and in this process.php file you can only see the if else conditions, and there's no HTML tag or something like that showing in this page. That means there's no design in this site, and only this PHP file will be executed in the server side computer, not in a client side computer. Okay, that's why I told you I'm sending the data to the server side. And now we are in the server side. You can see here I started a new session, and after that here's the connection to our database management system, and here actually we are connecting to the database. Here you can see the database name, and I assigned that connection to a new variable. This is a PHP variable called PBMSC. And I use the object-oriented method. You can see MySQLi is an object. Okay. After that, you can see there are two variables again, email and password, and I assign the values come to the server side, which are the email and the password, which will come in the come with the AJAX request. I use separate variables to store email and password. Okay, after that, in the next line you can see there I started a if condition. Here is a if else ladder. In this if else ladder, I use the this part to validate our details. You saw when I enter a wrong detail, or I didn't enter anything and press the login button, it will show an error, and these are the errors. Here you can see the first one, empty email. Empty email means if there's no value inside the email variable, that variable will store the email which will come to the server side. So if there's no email, it will send this code, send this text email, enter email. Okay, and you can see I told you I have to change this error code. If someone didn't enter the password, it should be changed to enter password. Okay. And here you can see if there's no password, it will execute this one, and only this one it will show, it will output only this text, enter password, and none of these command lines, none of these code lines will be executed, only this one. Okay. If there's an email and password, it will check the character length of the password. You can see strlen, that PHP method will calculate the character length of the variable we given it or text we given it. In this case, we are giving the password. So it will calculate the characters inside the password, and if the characters length is less than 4, that means if there are only 4 characters, if there are less than 4 characters in the password, that means the password is very weak, so it will output this error code, password must contain more than 10 characters. Actually, this should be changed to 5 characters, but in this case, let's left that alone. And you can see none of these, if or else conditions are not true, it will execute the else part. That means if there's an email and there's a password, and the character length of the password is more than 4, it will execute the else part. Okay. This is the else part, and let's review that one. You can see first I create another PHP variable and I assign the query. This is the select query I use to search the details inside this. Here we are in the Heidi SQL browser, this database, and let's review that code too. Here select user asterisk, that means when this query is executed, all the data we are searching will be shown related to the user table. And after that, here you can see account type dot name. That means the name attribute in the account type will be shown in the database as well, in the result as well. And the attribute name I changed the attribute name as ATP. I'll show you that one. And after that, here I mentioned the table name. We are connecting to the to a single database. You can see in the database connection, we are calling to a single database. So that means we don't need to define the database name. We can just name the table we want to select these details. Okay. After that, you can see from user inner join. That means I join 2 tables, the user table and the account type table. And here's the condition: I join these 2 tables, or the connection between these 2 tables. Here you can see the account type ID in the user table should be equal to the account type ID in the ID field. You can see that's the attribute which will foreign from the account type, and I mentioned that connection. So the 2 tables will be connected. The data will be connected in a corresponding order. Okay. After that, here you can see this is the condition. I want to search these details or filter these details where user.email equal to the email. That means the email which will inputted by the user. If there's any data inside the user table, and here's the attribute email, if there's any email recorded in this email attribute, which will equal to the email that will entered by the user. And also, let me go back, and also the password of the user, if there's a password recorded in the password field, if those two conditions are met, that means there's a record to the credentials that the user insert to this database, it will grab or it will output that record, the which have the email and the password, the correct email and the password. It will take this record, and also searching the ID, it will extract the name of the account type, and it will output that account. Okay, that's the functionality of this query. And after that, you can see I executed this query using the dbmsc. That's the connection to our database. Okay, after the execution, after executing, if you execute a select query, or there will be always there will be a result. Those are the records we are filtering using the select query. So I assign that result to a new variable called CR. If the condition after the query executed, the select query, it will output the result in a table form. So I assign that table to this new variable called CR, and after the next line you can see I created another variable called CNOR. That means the number of rows in our result. So here you can see I calculate the number of rows in the result using the numRows function. So I calculate and assign that number of rows in our result to the CNOR variable, and after that you can see there's a if else ladder again. And in this if else ladder, first one in the if block, you can see if CNOR equal to 1. If CNOR equal to 1 means there's a record inside there's a record related to the details the client entered. Only if there's a record, it will execute this part of the code, and if there's no record, that means the CNOR are not equal to 1, it will execute this error code, error check your email and password. Okay, that's what will show as the error when you entered a wrong or unrelated credential to our website. And let me show you what happened when you enter a correct credential. It will check. Here's another variable I created, and it will store the records or the details in that result, which will outputted from the query we executed, and it will extract the details out from that table. The result which have a table form. It will extract the details out from that table and insert to a associative array, and it will store that associative array in the C data variable. Okay, that's what happened in this code. What will happen when this code is executed, and after that you can see there's another if condition. Okay, here in the first if condition you can see C data A type. That means the value which have the name in the associative array called A type in the C data variable, it will check if that value is equal to admin. That means if the account type name is equal to admin, it will check whether the account type name is equal to admin, and if the account type is equal to admin, it will you can remember we started the session here. So in the session variable, it will create a new variable name called you know session is a associative array, so you can insert many details using name value as name value pairs. So here's the first name, user type. It will create a name called user type in the session, and it assigns the value in the A type, the C data A type. That means it will store. Let me go to the database. It will store this name, the admin, and if the A type is equal to employee, it will store. It will store the name employee in the user type name in the session variable, and if it's equal to client, it will store that one. Okay, that's what happened within these details, and after that it will every time you every time you create a new name in the session variable, it will execute. After that, it will execute this text as the output. It will execute 1. It will output 1 as the output. Okay. If none of these conditions are met, it will execute this one. That means the A type is not equal admin and not equal admin or employee or password. It will execute this one, that's in the else part, error account type. That means there's an error in the account type. Okay, that's another validation, and that means it will store the account type in the client's session as the username user type. Okay, now client have a user variable in the server side, and the user type, the server side will be created a new unique ID called PHP sys ID, and stored that PHP sys ID in the client side. So when the client go to any page, he can be access that variable, the session variable we created, and the details inside that variable, actually the associative array associative array called session, and the details inside that associative array using that PHP sys ID. The PHP sys ID will be stored as a cookie. Okay, that's the functionality of this process.php file, and let's go to our JavaScript file. Okay, here in the JavaScript file, not this one, in the JavaScript file, you can see, now I'm going to discuss these code lines starting from 12 to 20. Here's the first one. Again, our Ajax object, I call that Ajax object, and I checked already state change. That means if when I send a request, after I send a request, if the state of my Ajax object change, it will notify, or it will execute this one. This is another function. It will execute every time it changes the state of the Ajax object, and these functions are called anonymous functions. That because this function will be executed related to the state of the Ajax object. There are status overall, actually approximately there are 4 status. Like when you sending the Ajax object, the first state is the object leaving the client side to the server side, and then second one is reaching to the server side, and after the process, that's the third part. And when the Ajax object reach the client side, that's the fourth one. Now we need that fourth one. So after that, I define another if condition, and I check whether the state, here you can see ready state equal to 4. Now that means I check whether the details are the output of the process.php file is come as the response to our client side, and if the data are here, it will execute this part of the command line, the code line, and if the state is not equal 4, it will do nothing. Okay, if the state is equal to 4, you can see I created another new variable called text and assign the output value which will come as a text into this variable, and here you can see I alerted, that means I create an alert and make the text show in that alert. The text means the output text which will come as the response with the AJAX object. Okay, after that you can see I checked whether the text is equal to 1. If the text is equal to 1, here I called another function, that means it will execute this function go to home. Okay, let me change the place of this alert and create a else part to this if condition, and let's place that here. That's because it will check the text. You can see only the number 1 is outputted when the process is okay. That means when that means there's an account and the session is created and the account type is assigned to that session. After that it will execute 1, and every time there's an error it will execute the error code. So we don't need to show the show the text number 1. We need only to show the error type. So that's why I changed that alert to the else. So if the text is equal to 1, that means everything is okay. It will redirect the user to the home page, and if there's an error in the credentials, it will alert the error code. Okay, and after that I'm going to show you the function go to home. Go to home means you can see window.location home admin.php. Okay, that means it will change the location of the user. Actually, in this case, the website of the user, the web page of the user to home admin.php. Let's go to that page too. This is the home admin.php. Sorry about the name. I used only one page as the home page, and I use if conditions when I when I'm showing the design according to the user type. Okay, according to the account type. Okay, here in the home page you can see I started the session variable. I started the session again, and after that here's a if condition. The first one is if it check is set session user type. Okay, that means it will check whether there's a value. There's a variable called user type in the session array. If there's a session, if there's a variable called user type in the session array, it will execute this part of the code. And if there's no variable name user type, it will execute this else part. You can see in the else part, I connect the script, the JavaScript script. I connected to the index page, and using the script, here you can see I create an alert, and in that alert you can see you have login to first. That means the user is not logged in, or he didn't visit the login page. That's why he didn't have a session, didn't have a variable called user type in the session array. So he will be redirected to the login page. That's why I call this go to login function. Let me show you the go to login function. You can see it will change the go to login function, and it will change the current web page to the index.php. Index day 2 q3 answer php means our login page. It will change the it will redirect the user to this login page. Okay, let's go back to the home page, and in the home page you can see if there's a variable name called user type in the session array, it will execute this part. Here I created a new variable called type, and I assign the variable, the user type variable, into that PHP variable type. Okay, after that here's another if else ladder. First one, it will check if the type is equal to admin. That will check the account type stored in the session, and if the account type is equal to admin, it will show this h1 tag, admin home page. Okay, we can write the codes related to the admin page within this in this if block, and if you want to design the employee page, we can design the or we can add the codes related to the employees home page in this else if block. Like that we can design the client page, so it will show only the home page details or home page designs according to the account type. So here I check if the account type is equal to admin, and if it's not, it will check if the account type is equal to employee, and if it's equal to the employee, it will show this code, and if it's not, it will check if the account type is equal to client. If it's equal to client, it will show this one, the client home page, and if none of those conditions are met, it will execute this else part. You can see I again join the JavaScript file, and after that in the script you can see there's an alert called undefined account type. So that means actually there should be 3 accounts, admin, employee and client. If none of these account names are stored in our users session, that means there's an undefined account in that user, or that user account is an undefined account. So that will execute this error code, and after that go to login page. It will again redirect to the user to the login page. It will not going to show the contents of the user admin home page or employee home page or client home page. Okay, that's how my web page works, and I like to show you again. You can see I changed the alert here in the first when I log into the home pages, you saw there's an alert called 1, and let's see whether it will show again or not. Let's refresh this one, and after that I'm going to log into the admin page again, admin@gmail.com and admin123. Let's go to our database and change the admin name. Let's execute this one. You can see there's an error because I entered admin123. That's the old password. Here's the new one, admin, only the admin. So I'm changing that to admin. Okay, here you can see the admin. Now let's log into this one. You can see the number one, the alert number 1 didn't show, and we redirect to the home page without any alert. Okay, That's how my web page works, and I think that's it for this video. We covered all the parts. Let me show you related to the question 13, and let's see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.